Bitcoin, along with other cryptocurrencies, are crashing, and the future doesn't look good for them. How did Bitcoin even go from one of the fastest return investments to becoming the worst thing that you can find? Well, I'll show you the darker secret of what's really going on behind the crash. The media is trying to censor the real reason, and I'm going to show you what's actually happening. And I'll also give you top-tried solutions to be able to pull you through this crash.
I mean, I definitely messed up here.
Real reasons why crypto's dipping. Normally, dipping is not strange to investments. However, this Bitcoin dip is shocking and has never been seen before in such strange form. Should you be worried this time though? Well, the highs and lows in the financial market have hit Bitcoin even more casually in an uncontrolled and volatile environment. This has instilled a very high level of fear in retail investors like you and I, who will potentially lose their money. The biggest crypto coin, Bitcoin, has dipped several times since its creation 13 years ago in 2009. But the dip that had happened is currently the scariest and quite possibly the largest in its history so far. The current fall in price had reached its high as 54%, and it can even go lower. Well, on November 10th, 2021, Bitcoin attained its all-time high, which was almost, get this, $69,000. It fell and became worse at less than $26,000, pushing the crypto's market total worth from $3 trillion to $1.5 trillion. It's as if the whole economy of Russia just disappeared. What has fallen must rise again. If you've not sold, you have not lost yet, so keep that in mind. This crash is, however, way different from any others before it, as there is some fishy things going on in between governments and also with their citizens, which have led to the increased cost of living.
Losing 0.48%. We're just waiting to see slow motion cryptocurrency collapse and see if it can bring the house down.
Fear of recent scary events, shockingly high levels of fear, insecurity, and lack of confidence among most of the big institutions should definitely worry us, the smaller investors. As the panic fear rises, investors are withdrawing their investments from the cryptocurrency market, and we should perhaps do this too. COVID killing millions and causing the lockdowns, then Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with the potential threat of nuclear war just right around the corner, along with World War III speculations, have all created rampant global pressure. Your favorite smartphones and even PlayStations can no longer be reached to your favorite shelves, causing prices to rise, which has led to shocking inflation.
Inflation is a very serious subject. You can argue it's the way democracies die.
Raising inflation not only makes you poor. The US government made a huge mistake here. The shocking finding had revealed in the report that a piece of unpopular information was that inflation was growing by a staggering 8.3% compared to last year. This huge increase triggered discussions on potential upcoming depressions in the US and the world, which have never been experienced before. With that again, fear kicked in and scared institutions and retail investors like you and I, so we started the race to dump riskier holdings as fast as possible. Normally, smart investors only wait for such dips to acquire at such low prices. This time, nobody's buying. Undoubtedly, this is the indicator of the scariest possible scenario of the future.
I don't think Bitcoin becomes a transactional currency. I think it is literally tailor-made to be a store of value. There's other people that will disagree with me. There's a thing called the Lightning Network, which allows transactions at a much lower cost.
Bitcoin isn't digital gold anymore. Stocks that listed on the NASDAQ fell dramatically. The war entered Wall Street and is not leaving until enough people get hurt. The correlation between Bitcoin and the tech stocks from NASDAQ is well known. They do go in the same direction. The same behavior was expected of the relationship between gold and digital gold, namely Bitcoin. This scenario didn't only play out on the surprise of many, as on the same day when the Bitcoin dropped, gold ended up going up. Some investors, for the very first time, have started claiming that Bitcoin can no longer be considered the digital gold and store of value, but rather a much riskier investment. It's caused immediate changes in the strategies of some of the Hales who sold a big chunk of their Bitcoin position. Now, that doesn't mean that you should too, but recognize that even the biggest in the space don't know everything and are willing to at least adapt and change their opinion.
Now, I'm not so sure how crypto captured our collective imagination, except that these coins had huge moves, and at a certain point, people buy this stuff simply because it's going up.
your portfolio damaging domino effect. Imagine that even the smallest decision that you take can end up leading to the occurrence of several chain reactions which are happening subsequently over which you have zero control. Some might be good while others can be devastating and you can't do anything about it. Bitcoin crashing has caused an immediate and uncontrollable chain of reactions which scared folks into selling off more riskier holdings, which leads to turning out one of the highest valued crypto assets into basically a cheap holding, leaving us, the retail investors, devastated by the loss. Is there any hope at all, or is the situation totally hopeless? Smaller investors do end up selling whenever the big boys sell and buy when they buy without exactly understanding how the market works. Although this might work occasionally, mimicking purchases of much larger investors such as Warren Buffett could be a stupid decision, unless you're a billionaire and have enough money for those types of investments. Besides, a good investment opportunity for $1,000 or even $100,000 looks completely different to every investor.
But as I've said publicly, we do need to watch out for crypto taking, especially Bitcoin, using proof of work to maybe use energy that's maybe a bit too much.
Elon Musk is out of love with Bitcoin. Has the recent market panic been influenced by the new shocking tweets from Elon? Back in June 2021, when Musk had tweeted he no longer loves Bitcoin, the strongest crypto dipped about 5%. Fast forward to May, and he ended up announcing that Tesla will no longer be accepting cryptocurrency as a payment method. The whole crypto market basically dipped, losing billions of dollars in a single day. Some experts do believe that this dip may still be partially linked to his Twitter announcements. Yet one thing is for sure, and that is that the whole market is watching his next steps. You always need to be able to do your own research and actually learn about any sort of investment before spending a dime. So here's how.
It's much easier to invest for the long term if you're just talking pure investment, because you know what's going to, in my view, it'd be very high probability what's going to happen 10 and 20 years from now in a major way, and I don't have the faintest idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
Long-term investments make you rich. It's really just best to focus on future financial gains and not some immediate profit, except if you think Bitcoin is just another Ponzi scheme. But Bitcoin is obviously not a get-rich-quick scheme, so it doesn't make any sense in being too bothered by a dip. Bitcoin will last as long as man does, so just wait for the dip.
If you're working in something where you're living off your paycheck from week to week, you want to have a little cash around, and you certainly don't want to have a credit card that's maxed out or anything like that.
Filling up your wallets. As having a dip like this can actually be a good thing, as having low prices such as these does make it easier to buy more for the future. But be wise enough to avoid touching your immediate funds, because just like you wouldn't pull money out of your normal saving funds, you don't want to pull out your Bitcoin savings for immediate emergencies.
We're down at 27.15. When I came on 5 minutes ago, we were at 27.30. So we're down another 15 points in 3.5 minutes.
Should you join the panic sell? Remember that domino effect that we talked about earlier? Do yourself a favor and avoid all the panic talks as each crypto domino hits the market. And guess what? The CEO of Wazarex, a crypto exchange company, Niskel Stelly, stated that no one who held on to crypto in the last 3 years actually lost, but rather gained investments. Just avoid distress selling whether you're a retailer or a big-time investor.
You got a portfolio of decent, diversified businesses. We need any cash.
Don't put all your eggs into one basket. Putting all your eggs into one basket is pretty much unwise in our financial world today. Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance, definitely has some other investments. You might want to find out what they are, but the point is that in 2022, there are many things to invest in, like stocks, mutual funds, government bonds, and much, much more. So be on the lookout for less volatile investments, because we can never tell the exact future of Bitcoin. The next fun tip allows you to get huge insights and be on top of trends.
The friends you have, they will form you as you go through life.
Should you be a Lone Ranger Bitcoin owner? It's the 21st century, and the only thing worse than dying is being a caveman when it comes to tech. There's a lot of great content to make your crypto journey smoother on social media, with sites like Reddit, Discord, Telegram, or even Facebook. Not only does the blockchain benefit this, but also do retailers. And who knows, you might get tipped off on the next Bitcoin dip or rise within your community. So find a trusted community today, and once you have an opinion, you might test it against what you've learned and know. Rule the Bitcoin market. To thrive in this volatile market, you need to understand why and when the dips and rises will happen, so that way you can stay calm. You might also want to reconsider your reason for even going into crypto, because if your reason is to become the next Binance lord overnight, you might fall sooner than you might think. Be strategic, patient, and smart in order to stay winning.